Welcome to Flore, Fantasy and Sci-Fi Lore. Today is a news episode. We're going to dive into the latest news and everything we're talking about. If you hit this for the first time or a little bit confused, we are releasing the news as it comes out. So you might hit up the month before or even before that to clear up any confusion about some of the details we're talking about, as we're just releasing the latest and newest stuff for the various worlds we talk about: the D&D, Witcher, Dune, DC, Marvel, and all of that. Roll the intro.
Do you remember the first story that was so spellbinding that it drove you to break the rules and stay up all night? To keep reading, keep listening, keep playing? So good you forgot your life and lived there?
So good that the moment it ended, you asked yourself, what next?
Welcome to the Flore. Our goal is to take you back, take you deeper, to explore and understand more, and relive that childlike wonder.
Join us as we dive deep into humanity's greatest stories, no matter how they are told, through books, movies, television, even games.
One of us does an in-depth research on our topic. One of us is familiar with the topic.
And one of us knows nothing. So the right questions will always be asked and will be addressed for anyone coming into the topic, regardless of how much you know.
Enjoy another world, another adventure, another spellbinding story. Join us on the Flore.
All right. We are doing a new segment again. I'm going to be talking about my universes. We hit DC pretty hard last time, so I'm just going to cover the highlights. We got a new trailer for Flash. Well, actually, we have a new one. So actually, I didn't talk about this last time. We had a new trailer that dropped, and then we had one that was in Chinese or Japanese or something, and they showed off a new suit for him. We've been getting a little mixed signals on whether we like that suit or not. We're getting real close to being able to play some Suicide Squad fights the Justice League. Mm-hmm. So that'll be really exciting. Still sitting on pins and needles for Blue Beetle. But what I'm really excited about, because I just saw this, so it's not DC related, but we finally got a teaser trailer for King Kong versus Godzilla coming out March 2024, baby.
Really?
Wow. I have been waiting so long to hear some news on this one, so I'm sure there's other people who have too. And that one was just hype, because the trailer's like, we don't know what's going to happen because there's two kings now. So anyways, that's kind of my big stuff. And then Marvel, we now have a leader of the Avengers for the Avengers universe. It is confirmed that it will be Captain Marvel going forward for the new Avengers. And I think those are my big ones right now.
Okay. I'm actually surprised to hear that it's Captain Marvel, because there was so much controversy around Brie Larson.
I mean, we could try and unpack all of that, but yeah, some people think that, some people like her, some people,
I don't know the controversy.
Brie Larson had, both within the movie and some of her statements in interviews, it seemed like she wasn't getting along with some of the cast members. And also she came across not just as feminist, but almost anti-men. Like, one of the problems with the male prejudice for years is that men just assumed they were better than women because they were men. And Captain Marvel and Brie Larson kind of brought that attitude to Captain Marvel, that she was better than men because she was a girl. It's like, that's the reverse of the same problem, Mm-hmm. So there was a big controversy around that,
and whether or not that was actually what she was portraying or what people saw, or there's a lot of layers to it.
Oh yeah, none of that was said verbatim, so some of that is just interpretation.
And then there's also the whole factor of if a bunch of people say you hate women all the time, Eli, it's probably going to make you not be the nicest in all of your interviews all the time.
Yeah.
So there is that factor for Brie as well.
Okay. All right. So let's jump into my worlds. Now, before that, I think we do have to mention there is a writer's strike on. So some of the content you love is going to be delayed. And some of it might not come out as great because they get the discount versions because they want to keep making.
It might even be better, though.
You might get the AI version.
So yeah, we might get some ChatGPT stories cranked out, right? They're gonna be like, we don't need you. ChatGPT will write our stories, and I feel like that's just gonna tank hard.
Yeah.
So there is a writer who has written a novel using ChatGPT. It is 95% written by the AI. I am pretty sure he's going to be a New York Times bestseller with this book. I have also read some of it, and I don't think it's very good at all. But there's so much interest in AI now that I think a lot of people pick it up just to see what it's done.
So let's back up for a second. So iRobot was written a long time ago, and now we've got eRobot.
What is eRobot?
Well, like ebooks, like online.
Oh,
It's like written. It's a joke, Joe. Ha.
Too many dots there. I was like, iRobot, Isaac Asimov, the 3 laws of robotics. I don't
know. Just, oh my gosh. Trying to use some dad humor. You won't even let me.
I also think Aaron hasn't read iRobot.
Oh, he doesn't know iRobot. Maybe that's why. He's just going off the title. He's coming off the title. That's why, yeah. And I guess if you're going off the title, it makes sense. If you go off the story, it makes no sense at all. Wholly unrelated to ChatGPT.
They're like the same.
So, all right. Let's so moving into the fantasy world. So some big things kind of happened when we were going through some stuff the last few months. Honor Among Thieves came out in the theaters. And while a lot of D&D fans said it was great, it was filled with some cameos from like the, they had actors portraying the characters from the 1980s cartoon when they're in the arena. There were some jokes about, rolling ones. Like as one of the reviewers put it, he says, a lot of movies and TV shows that are based on games try to pretend that they're not. But the D&D movie doesn't. It leans into the fact that this is a game. You can roll a 1, you can roll a 20, and weird things happen that way. Clearly, the writer of this review was a D&D player and a fan of it, and so that was something he enjoyed. As someone who had played the game, had those moments, and then he could see these characters, essentially somewhere in the back, someone was rolling dice. And things weren't going great, or they went amazingly well, far better than they should have. And
those are always my favorite situations. Rogue rolls a 1 on stealth, and the paladin full plate armor rolls a 20, and you're just like, how does this?
Yeah. So despite good reviews from fans of D&D, the movie only broke even at the box office. We'll see what happens when it hits streaming and different things like that. Some movies and shows really take off once they become available in that format. So we will see what happens with Honor Among Thieves. But I think the future of the movies, will kind of be weighed there. I imagine in another 20 years, if this is a flop, they'll try again because they do keep trying with D&D. They know there's a fan base there. They just haven't found a way to stroke that chord yet. So, and we do have the TV series, which we don't know a lot about, but is being made. Another thing we'll kind of see. But for those who want more of Honor Among Thieves, they have released the character sheets for the characters. So you can check those out if you're curious about their characters. Baldur's Gate 3, Larian has announced that the console version will have a split screen co-op, which I think a lot of the fans expected because Larian does that a lot. They want you to be able to play these games with your friends, and particularly D&D is, while a lot of the games do tend to be solo player, they did want this one to very much have that co-op feel. So you can play online with friends, but you can also just split the screen while you're sitting on the couch together.
Nice.
2 big points in the Witcher. I think the biggest one, of course, is we do have a release date, June 29th for season 3. Now, it is going to be broken up into 2 parts. So we'll get a couple episodes on the 29th of June, and then we will get the rest of them on the 27th of July. But I think it's kind of a bittersweet announcement after everything that happened between the season 2 and when they're releasing season 3. We had the huge fallout with Geralt of Rivia. I forgot his real name.
Henry
Cavill. Yes, yeah, there was a lot of departure from the story in season 2, and then we had the train wreck that was Blood Origin. where Netflix basically said we don't care and threw everything out the window. So I think we can.
Well, I mean, that was an alternate reality, right?
An alternate reality. I think we can kind of break Witcher fans into a couple groups. You have the fans of the books, who I think are very frustrated with Netflix. But you'll have a group of fans who have only ever seen Netflix. That's their whole interaction with the world, and they're still enjoying everything because they're not comparing it to something else. And then you have the fans of the games who are kind of just doing their own thing in a different world, because they're dealing with some very different stories. But yeah, so we do have.
I am interested to see how the fans react, who are just fans of the show, how they react when the main character is recast. Well, not recast, but when you see him, like the new character, how are they going to feel? Because, like, to us, Henry Cavill was phenomenal for the part of Geralt.
Yeah,
and then just like people who only knew Henry as Geralt, how are they going to feel when they see him in season 4 not being there anymore?
So, yeah, we'll see how they handle all of that. Also in the Witcher news, there was an update to the game that introduced what was called a quality of life change. And a lot of fans are upset about this because they feel like it removes some of the immersion from the game. And this is that essentially if you have the right oil to fight the monster, it will automatically use it in combat. And so a lot of the fans are like, you don't really have to research your monsters anymore because as long as you've got a little bit of everything, you can just go in and Geralt will figure it out for you, right? With this auto feature. And so they're saying, part of what really made you feel like a Witcher is you really had to study these creatures before you went in there and fought them. You, the player, had to, take on some of the role of the Witcher in your research to figure out how to
feel like a Witcher.
Making you feel like a Witcher, yeah. So it was released as this quality of life to, just make that a little easier. But a lot of fans were kind of upset, saying that, it was going to remove some of the immersion from the game.
Seriously, do you not remember season 1? What episode was that when the one Witcher got killed because he got the wrong info on what the monster was?
Yeah, we talked about that. I think that's episode 2 or 3.
It's 2 or 3, yeah.
Yeah, the Witcher gets killed, and because the people who hired him were wrong, right? They're like, it's a woodlock. And then Geralt then goes in there and researches, says, nope, not what it was.
Well, yeah. Especially after seeing his buddy dead, he's like, "Well, maybe it's
maybe it's something else. Let me dig a little deeper.
Yeah, let me just do some research real quick.
Stomach. So yeah, those are the two big things. I know that there are definitely delays in The Last of Us season 2. We're going to see delays in Game of Thrones with both Egg and Dunk, and season 2 of House of the Dragon with this writer's strike. So it's going to affect a lot of things. So
it's just a writer's strike across the board?
Pretty much. So what's going on is traditionally, we're writing on a TV show. They would then get royalties whenever the show was put on TV. And for a lot of writers, this was how they kind of made ends meet between jobs. Maybe you worked on, Friends for 6 years. And then the show ends and maybe you can't get work right away. So you go a year or 2 without a job. Well, you're depending on the royalties from the, syndication of the Friends TV show to get you by. But with so much being streaming now, they weren't getting as big a deals or even nothing in streaming royalties for their work. And so for a lot of writers, this has put them in really tough financial situations. And so the strike is about getting some kind of income from the streaming as well so that they can get by during the lean years.
Not just airtime, but stream time.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Kind of hard to, I'll let them figure it out, but it's rough. Are we done with your universe then, Joe?
Yep. That's it for me.
All right. Time for doom and gloom. Cyberpunk universe style stuff.
All's quiet in Night City right now, but in alien news, we had Alien Day on April 26th. This was chosen for representation of the planet Archon, or planet LV 426. This is when the alien is and they find the ship and pick up that first Xeno. And then also in Aliens when they return, and Hadley's Hope and Newt. That planet was coded LV 426, and so that's why it's Alien Day. So we've had a bunch of stuff pop up in our Alien universe. First, we had Alien Dark Descent, new trailer, as well as a release date for June 20th, open for pre-order. Why would you pre-order? They're going to give you some black armor skins and a black cat companion for the game. Whether you get a cat for the game anyways, and this is just a skin, I'm not sure. In Alien Romulus, we get a shot of a facehugger holding one of the film clapboards saying Happy Alien Day on it with the shot of one of the sets. It's a spaceship hallway. And we also see an emergency kiosk that is straight out of the game Alien Isolation. A little wink to the fans there. But also, it is said that this film will be in the light of Alien and Alien Isolation. So much more of a classic and survival horror type film.
Yay.
As far as Blomkamp's Alien 5, this would have been a replacement for Alien 3. We had a script, we had concept art, we had a director. All of this came together and Fox still owned the rights to it. And it was a no-go for them. When Disney bought the rights to Alien, the producers asked if they were interested in it. They were not. The producers made this sound like they would be able to go ahead and make it in one way or another. But a recent interview with Sigourney Weaver saying that ship has sailed and she will not be returning to the role. She has spent her time in space.
That was a big moment. Yeah, when that came out, that was everywhere on the Alien boards. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. She was, main character in that script. And so this will probably be the final time we hear anything about that ever being made into a film. As far as the FX TV show, still untitled. We did have 3 concept art clips released. One with Wendy holding 2 swords in a forest as a Xeno is stalking her up in the trees. Another of a
Swords
crash
versus
site.
a Xeno? Are you crazy?
Now, people want this shot. This is akin to Predators when the
Yeah, but aliens don't fight like predators. They'd be like, "Oh, you're going melee? I'm gonna even the odds a little bit for you." They don't fight that way.
yeah. Anyways, it's a shot. It looks pretty cool. I mean, this is just concept art,
Right.
It's clunky, but let's see. We have another shot of a crash site in the middle of a city with people rushing towards it. We have the final one of a hypersleep room with no power. One of the pods is broken, and there's a team exploring into the room with flashlights, like mounted on their guns. Exploration team, if you will.
I did recently see a meme about aliens, and it was the aliens talking, be like, "They tried to take over our planet, and we're the monsters." Be like, no. It says, and every time they kidnap one of us and we kill all our captors, we're the monsters. Be like, that's not how that works. It says, if we didn't look so scary, we'd be the heroes.
Oh, that's great.
They could make a movie from the alien point of view.
That reminds me, somebody typed into one of those AI art generators, Aliens musical, and the art that came out of that made it look pretty awesome. You got a Xeno like belting into a mic, and Sigourney dancing. A couple of those.
It's weird looking.
It's weird looking, but it got some people excited. But anyways, I'm running off track here. Yeah. We also have a small name, Paul Johnson. He's a solo animator that uses the animation style of 1980s. His YouTube channel is Oto King Animation.
Yeah, this is an anime.
He puts out shorts. One of his bigger ones was a Star Wars one called TIE Fighter with over 13 million views. Since then, he has gone full-time, Patreon supported, and has quit his day job. So we might get quite a bit more for what he has just released a trailer for called Alien Monday, the worst day of the week.
Oh, it looks dang good. Good art style too. It's 1980s, but a little bit a lot cleaner, but also super anime.
I'll have to check out TIE Fighter.
Yeah, it's good. It's no dialogue. He's just animating, and then he's got another guy who puts music over it. So, like, be ready to have some classic rock, like 80s, battle. Yeah, he does a very good production.
Nice.
Love it.
All right. Anything else? Is that it for news?
That's it for Alien news. On to Dune.
Oh, yes, Dune.
We had Dune Part 2 trailer drop. Looking gorgeous. We see Princess Irulan. We see Fade Rutha. We see Paul riding a sandworm.
It's about time.
We see Jessica in the throes of the water of life. Go give it a look.
Okay,
Now,
like right now, I'll do it.
Now, part 2 spans over a very long time period and a large war, unlike an ambush of sacking of a city that we see in part 1. So in this one, it will be much more of a war movie, saying that the last half of the movie will just be all-out war. If all goes well, the director plans on moving on to Dune Messiah, but we'll be putting it into one movie as the book is half as long. For Dune Sisterhood, they're still reworking their scripts. This won't be a direct adaptation of Dune Sisterhood, the books. It will be alongside that. And something they've said is that they are working really hard to make it feel and look like these movies coming out.
So they feel like they're in the same world. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think
making it look strange.
Yeah, I mean, when you step into these new Dune movies, I think one of the things you get the feel of is it doesn't feel high-tech sci-fi. And I think that is very fitting for Dune. It's not something that I've seen them do before with Dune. Things do tend to have kind of a sci-fi look to them. But with these ones, like, you walk down these hallways and, like, tech is nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very fitting for, this post Butlerian jihad world. So I did enjoy that aspect.
But I do think that once we, if they end up doing some Butlerian jihad, then they're going to have to be like, all right, we've really got to infuse tech everywhere, especially in the android control or the synchronized worlds.
Yeah.
But that is my news for this time.
All right. Well, we hope you've all enjoyed these. We still haven't gotten a lot of feedback on the new news episodes, but let us know what you think. And thanks for listening.
I like them. So there's